For 65 years, there has been an epic clash of nations taking place in Europe that draws nearly double the number of eyes than the Super Bowl, yet is completely unknown by Americans.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie.
And I'm Aubrey.
And we are two Americans currently living in Germany and sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. Because the Eurovision Song Contest did not take place in 2020, this year will be the first year that we will be living in Europe and will get to see what this competition is all about. As Americans, we grew up most of our lives having no idea what it is or really that it even existed, even though it was drawing up to 180 million viewers each year. We may have seen some clips going viral on YouTube about a European singing show a couple of times, but otherwise, we got our first glimpse of the competition in 2020 with the Will Ferrell Netflix hit Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. This got us interested in checking the real deal out, and as I was researching what Eurovision is to watch it for the first time this year, I started realizing how very little we understood about this competition. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today in our video, the song competition, the unknown exhibition. We're talking Eurovision.
Most of the time, this is where we give the disclaimer that we are originally from a state in the southern US called Oklahoma and now live in a southwestern German state called Rhineland-Pfalz, and therefore our experiences are going to be a little more specific to these two places. However, when it comes to this subject, our experiences are pretty much true across this part of the world. In an Ipsos study from last year, only 21% of Americans said they have heard of the competition, and only 6% said they have ever watched it. That is, of course, in contrast to Europe, where the awareness of the contest ranges from 95% to 99% in all but Italy, where 74% said they have heard of the competition. So let us know in the comments where you are from, if you have heard of Eurovision Song Contest, and if you watch it.
We are actually filming this a little bit ahead of time, and the semifinals of the Eurovision Song Contest are this week. So we're gonna watch that and let you know what our take is on it. But first, we wanted to give you a better idea of what the assumptions are for most Americans like us about the show and what we have learned before we dive into it. First off, we thought Eurovision was just a singing competition amongst just European countries. Something like American Idol meets the Olympics, but only Europeans were invited to the party. So we assumed each country had their own competition for the best singer, and then that singer went to represent their country, and then the country whose singer won the European competition won bragging rights across Europe for the next 2 years or next year or maybe 4 years. We honestly had no idea how often this show happens, so we thought maybe it was like the Olympics and happens only once every 4 years?
Eurovision was never on TV for us growing up, but we do remember around high school, sometimes on YouTube, there would be these random clips uploaded from that year's Eurovision, and that was the first idea that we even had that something like this took place. But just to check, we did look it up and found that Eurovision did in fact air in the US on our public TV channel PBS one time in 1971, and then in 2003 and 2004, and 2016 through 2018 on a couple of TV channels I had never heard of. So it does seem the competition continues to grow and Americans may be getting a little bit of interest in it, so channels are starting to pick it up in the US, but still, by and large, it is relatively unknown in the US.
We also remember hearing rumors that some countries from outside of Europe competed in Eurovision, like Australia and Israel. We started to get the impression that maybe it was a European-focused competition, but for political reasons, they were allowing other countries to be involved maybe. And of course, as Americans, we had the question, well, if they are competing, why aren't we invited? Fast forward to 2020 and the first real introduction, if you could call it that, of Eurovision that we ever received was with the Will Ferrell Netflix movie, Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. Honestly, we really did enjoy that movie, and it actually got us excited to give Eurovision a chance and check it out for the first time. I think for many Americans, it was the same story, and this was the first time that they ever saw anything to do with the competition as well. Real quick, I wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. It is not sponsored by anybody, so you guys watching it and interacting with it is the only thing that supports this video. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button so others can find our videos and hopefully enjoy them as well. You can also find a link to our Patreon in the description if you want to support us that way. But now we're gonna get right back to the video.
So, with Eurovision 2021 coming up, we decided to do some research into this show to prepare for it, and we wanted to share with our American viewers the quick facts we found online that will help you also know what to expect if you tune in this year online.
First and foremost, it is not simply called Eurovision, although we do hear everybody refer to it as such. Eurovision is actually the name of a TV channel in Switzerland that initiated the competition show, and the full name of the show is actually Eurovision Song Contest.
And that is the other important thing we learned. This is not a singing competition, but as the full name obviously describes, it is a song competition. Each country submits an original song that is performed, and that song is what is being voted on, not necessarily the singer.
Another important note is that this is not strictly a European contest. Rather, it is actually a contest hosted by the European Broadcasting Union, and participation in the contest is primarily open to all broadcasters with active memberships of the European Broadcasting Union, EBU. To become an active member of the EBU, a broadcaster has to be from a country which is covered by the European Broadcasting Area or a member of the Council of Europe. Eligibility to participate is not determined by geographic inclusion within the continent of Europe. Despite the Euro in Eurovision, nor does it have a direct connection with the European Union. That is why you have countries like Israel or Morocco who have participated. However, there is the more complex issue of when a country like Australia starts to participate, which is neither a member of the Council of Europe or within the European Broadcasting Area. However, they are invited to participate as they are an associate member of the EBU. Associate members are not normally granted the right to participate in the Eurovision Song Contest outright, but they can be invited to do so. And you know who else is an associate member? The US. But don't expect the US to be invited to participate anytime soon, and in fact, I think to ensure that the US doesn't get any ideas, they have announced the creation of the American Song Contest that should start this year, so we'll have our own deal.
To sum up the little bit that we learned, in order to try and keep it fair, the way voting happens has changed multiple times over the years, ranging from a panel of judges to public voting and mixtures of the systems. A country can also not vote for themselves, but this led to allies or regional partners voting for each other, and there is crazy amounts of politics mixed in there. Also, those that spend the most to fund the show, like Germany, gets to jump straight to the finals. The country that wins is the one that hosts the competition the next year, and apparently, this is very expensive as the show grows and grows. Therefore, some countries supposedly purposefully try to lose so they don't have that burden.
So again, this will be our first time watching, and as Americans, this show is extremely foreign to us, so drop all of your Eurovision knowledge in the comments below and any fun facts that you know of. So, now that we have a little bit more of a kind of clear idea of what the Eurovision Song Contest actually is and what to expect, we're gonna go watch it for the very first time and then give you our reaction. All right, we are sitting down about to watch Eurovision for the very first time, the first night of the semifinals. It is Tuesday night, and before the show actually gets started, they've been running, I guess, like a recap of old stuff in years past. So it's kind of our first views of it so far, and I can't tell if they're recapping just kind of like the weirdest performances of the years past or the best or what they're doing. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it so far. It looks kind of interesting, but we're about to check it out and see for the very first time what we think of Eurovision. Aubrey, are you excited?
Yeah, some of these highlights or whatever we're hearing, some of them don't sound so good. So, but some sound great. We'll see, we'll see.
So for the first views of the Eurovision, the announcers have come out. I don't know who any of them are. They might be famous people, famous in Europe, but unfortunately I don't know who any of them are. But I think also what I've gathered, because I didn't really understand the whole semifinal concept, but I think they're having 16 that will be competing tonight, 16 on Thursday night, and 10 from each night will move forward to the finals on Saturday night. I'm really surprised too this is happening so late, 9 o'clock. It seems kind of late to be turning on prime time, especially since it's taking place in the Netherlands, kind of the same time zone. I would have assumed that it had been earlier in the evening, more prime time, but it goes for like a little over 2 hours as well, so really long. So I guess it's kicking off. Trying to just settle in and see what happens.
First night of the semifinals done, and this gave us a really good taste of what Eurovision is, and this was a lot of fun. We're excited for the next night. We'll be back Thursday to watch it again.
So here we are, night 2 of the semifinals, and we're going to keep saving our full recap until after we've watched this night, because we've only seen, I guess, a third of the way, because we have the 2 semifinals and then the finals on Saturday night. Some quick takes on the show so far and what I'm expecting for tonight after the first night. First off, after the first night, I didn't really hear anything that I felt like was going to be like a big hit or anything after the show. Honestly, I was kind of underwhelmed by the music. I don't know. I think that's me still trying to figure out like, what is the show? Because I know like it kind of has a reputation for being real kitsch, but at the same time, like really fun and goofy. So is it not to be taken seriously? Is it to be taken seriously? And there's like really big pop songs that come out of it that we haven't heard before. I also did read, I know like Celine Dion and ABBA, I guess kind of got their starts on the show, so it does seem like that could happen. So I'm not entirely sure where my expectations are for tonight in terms of the quality of music in that sense of post-show.
I thought it was fun. My favorite so far was Lithuania. I've been practicing Eurovision. None of the others really stuck out to me yet, but we'll see. Hopeful for tonight.
So part of watching this too, now that we live in Germany, is the fact that the announcers and everything are speaking in English that are actually at the Eurovision Song Contest, which by the way, we have found out now is referred to as ESC. That's a cool, I guess, abbreviation for it that we had never heard before. We also have like a German announcer that is translating a lot of stuff that they are saying in the show, but also I think what I'm hearing is them sometimes saying in English one thing and then him just talking about something else in German, just some information that he wants to give. And I think what I've gathered is, so last Tuesday night was 16 competitors. Tonight is 17 competitors, and 10 from each night moves on. The finals will have those 20 plus the 5 that get to automatically go to the finals. And then I also think I just learned that you vote for who you want to go in on the Eurovision app, but it also is kind of like confusing to me on who's voting when, because tonight Germans are not allowed to vote. They could only vote the night before, even though they aren't competing. So I think tonight just the countries that are competing are allowed to vote, but they can't vote for themselves. Still trying to figure out the rules here. Very confusing.
We have now finished watching the second round of semifinals of Eurovision Song Contest, and I think we have a better understanding of what this competition is now. So I really liked the songs and the countries that sang the song in their native language. I think that added like a fun element of it to me that makes it different from some of the music competitions that we've watched back home, because those are always in English, but this was fun when they'd throw in a different language.
And I think that was something that I kind of hoped for more of, was like them actually highlighting their culture a little bit more. I guess in my head, I imagined that this was going to be like a way of each country showing off what makes them special in terms of their their culture, their history. So yeah, so I was kind of disappointed in how many countries it was like just in English, and I couldn't tell like what country they were from just based off the song. That may be the point of the whole show, and I just have different expectations for it. I don't know. It's my first time watching, so I didn't know what to really expect. But what I did kind of think is I wonder if people who grew up in Europe and know the personalities of each country, that is a little more represented in each song. So maybe it doesn't actually show their culture, but maybe their personality is shown. So like maybe some countries who have like goofier songs, like that's kind of the personality of the people there, or like Finland with their heavy metal, maybe that represents Finnish people a little, I don't know. And after watching the semifinals, one thing that I also was kind of surprised by was something I had read online and I mentioned earlier in the video was, or a lot of countries may try to actually not win or purposefully lose a competition so they don't have to host it. And I don't think I really felt that way watching these. I'm really not sure how many countries actually do that, because I felt like for the most part, maybe some people didn't take it as like seriously and had more fun with it, but I didn't feel like they were outright trying to lose the competition. But tonight, I felt like the second night was definitely a lot stronger of a night. A lot more songs that I actually really do enjoy, and I could see me listening to after the show.
So now, after watching this, I definitely can see how this is something that is just ingrained in European culture and just has been a big part of Europe for a long time. And I really don't know how we are so unaware of it in the US. Like, it seems like such a fun thing that happens over here. I had no idea it even existed.
I mean, you kind of can't blame us because it's not even on our television. So there really wasn't even the opportunity for us to be aware of it because of that fact. But now with like the internet, maybe we should be more aware and watching it. But now, going into the finals though, who are we rooting for?
My two favorites were Lithuania and Iceland. Both kind of a similar goofy, fun vibe, and I really like that.
And I think for me, I was rooting for Austria. I really liked Austria's song. They didn't make it into the finals, but Iceland for me is the one that I'm rooting for a lot. But I also really liked Finland. Finland is my dark horse, quite literally, but also I really would like for them to pull it off. I don't know. We probably should be rooting for Germany since we're living here. I have no dog in this fight, but I'm getting into it. So thanks so much for watching this video, guys. To see who made it this far into the video, besides Eurovision, what do you think is the best competition TV show? Leave that in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you in our next video.
Cheers!
So again, this is our first time, and as Americans, this show is extreme. I'm gonna change that. This is the first time to watch. That's what I should say. We're gonna go watch it, and for the very first time, we're gonna go watch it for the very first time.
And that is the other important thing we learned.